So, hello, today is Thursday. I'm your Thursday sub for the Pagan Perspective. It's the last week of the year for us, and the last subs week of the year. So, it's show and tell week, and I'm going to follow suit with my previous hosts and show and tell my altar, as it were. Speaking. I've fallen in love with OBS, so I'm using that to record this video. Unfortunately, the sound isn't the best at the moment. I'm working on getting a better microphone set up. So we'll start off here. So I've got my altar here, and it's strange hearing myself say that, growing up atheist pretty much until the last few years. It's lit with a torch here. It doesn't normally look as bright as this. I've got a candle down the bottom here. So I'll start with my books. So I have got up here, just pause this video. It's got Anderson's Fairy Tales, Book of Norse and Germanic, myths, the Mabinogion, Terry Jones the Viking, more about that in a second, Morte Arthur by Thomas Mallory at the other end here. Lots of books, well, you can see what the books are there. Lots of notebooks in here as well. So this was the first book I ever read that had a Viking story in it. This was literally my first. I think I was around 6 or 7 years old, maybe a little bit older. But this was my first introduction to Vikings and whatnot. Pretty sure ever. Yeah. So that's a big deal. That's not the exact copy I had. That's a copy I went back and found years later as part of my kind of origin story, as it were. What else have we got here? Stephen Pollington, he's an academic. He's very, very knowledgeable and backs up all his sources. If you want factual, historically accurate information about runes. And then this book, Nordic Runes by Paul Rees Mountfort. Good as far as giving fairly accurate information about runes with regards to more modern esoteric use of them. Anyone who says that they know for a fact about ancient use of runes magically is unfortunately talking out of their behind, because we don't know. Another Stephen Pollington book, Rudiments of Rune Lore. I would definitely recommend getting that if you're interested in looking into runes. It's very, very cheap on Amazon. It's quite a small book, but it gives a good overview of the esoteric stuff. Gardening, nature in the UK. I've got some chunks of antler that I'm going to use for some runes. My Valknut, it's a set of coasters I made, but you've got to have that in your Nordic-ish altar. Wheel of the Year. A drinking horn, a bag of wheat that's hanging at my altar to hopefully grow next year, a piece of antler that I'm going to work on with some runes, some Odin statue, little accompanying candle, and my runes at the bottom there. This was dug up out of the garden by an old lodger of mine's dog, or friend of mine's dog. It's an oak tree. It's very, very tiny, massive root, but it seems to, like it would make a really good wand, but I'm not sure what to do with it yet, so I'll get to that later on, probably at some point. These runes are very, very dirty. Elder Futhark, my favourite set, made from yew. Made those myself, obviously. I was going to make some runes out of acrylic, and that's an example there. Smudge stick, pestle for my mortar. These rocks, apart from the bismuth, are all from, there you go, take that out of the way, and the bead, all collected from places where I've been on holiday or had some good times. One of the backs from one of the famous battlefields on, no, one of the famous beaches in France to do World War II. Some bone I found on my car, for some reason on my car, I don't know why. Dartmoor stone, more stone from the West Country. The Labradorite I didn't find, that I purchased, but everything else there I found in places where I've been on holiday and whatnot. Oak acorn husks in that first jar. I'll go back to that for a second. So this jar here, in the middle, I peeled a bunch of acorn husks. I hate acorns, so I could soak them and eat them. For some reason I just wanted to keep them. I don't know why, but it pleases me to have this jar just there. Some rosemary oil that I'm making there. Again, collecting bits of oak. I love oak trees. I've always loved oak trees. And I've got an oak tree in my bathroom. I think I'm about to, well, my shower room. There we go. Up there in the middle, Bert and Ernie in the one pot, and then I've got Chester the horse chestnut in the pot on the right there. Apologies for that room not being the cleanest. So yeah, every time a leaf falls off of Bert or Ernie there, in the left pot, I'm collecting it. I don't feel like I can throw away anything that's from an oak tree at the moment. I have this attachment to all of it. I'm probably going to use it in some sort of incense. I'm not sure exactly how, but something ceremonial, I think. Other incenses here. This one was one given to me by a friend. The others I made for myself. Very earthy kind of sense to them. St John's wort, things like that, are pretty calming. And some oils I've made for myself as well. Very small bottles at the moment, but obviously you want to test things out before you start making them in big gallon bottles or whatever. And I keep all my ashes from incense in this jar at the back as well. Another smudge stick at the bottom and a little incense burning box. The big triangle shelving unit thing I've made myself. So yeah, I kept on talking about the oak leaves that I wanted to keep for some reason. I don't know why I wanted to keep these oak leaves, but I very much have become attached to oak recently. Again, I'm not 100% sure I know why. I mean, I've started a regeneration project for planting oaks in the UK. We've got a couple hundred people on Facebook at the moment in our group, from all over the place in the UK. I've managed to get out. I've planted a couple of oaks this year. Next weekend, so on the solstice. I think it's on the solstice, on the day of the solstice, I think. I'm getting 60 oaks in the ground, and then if I could just quickly bring up another video I made from, it's almost like my second altar downstairs. So I'll bring my face over here. There we go. And this is, it's now December in the UK. It's the 10th of December, something like that, the 12th of December, and I've got here, just pause it for a second, I've got over 150 oak seedlings. I was going to plant them outside. I waited too long. They started to grow roots, and if I planted them outside they would have probably died. By plant outside I mean they were going to be in these root trainers, but they were going to be outside and just winter and then pop up in the spring. So at the moment the plan is to grow them all inside over the winter, keeping them watered and whatnot. I've mentioned it before in another video I'm sure, but I've got full spectrum light bulbs in my house, so that should provide some extra light for them. But this is almost like my second altar. Hashtag grow your own grove on Instagram. There are around 150 or 160 oak seedlings here. I mean, if you include, there's a lot of green you can see here. But if you include all of the shoots that are maybe an inch, half an inch tall even, if they've started to come up, it's inside, it's perfect conditions, they're all going to come up. So if I include shoots that are around an inch tall, half an inch tall, I've got well over 150, and acorns I've got over 300 in these units, these seed trainers. So I'm fingers crossed that they're all going to come up, and I'm thinking in the spring I'll probably need to repot them, and this is all part of my path. I mean, if I just leave that there, it's a beautiful site, I love that. Honestly, I go downstairs and just look at them. It obviously looks a bit strange. It's in front of my the front of my house. You can see there's a car went straight past. So people see that I've got trees growing in my living room. I don't know. I keep going on about these, but I absolutely love them. It's not difficult to do. I'm not proud of myself in that respect, but I'm just so happy that I've got, fingers crossed, 300 oak trees growing in my living room. Definitely over 150 at the moment. I didn't do another count this morning, given that the shoots can come up a quarter of an inch in a day to begin with. That first burst of speed is very, very quick, and to be honest, if you look at my Instagram, the Hairy Geek, hashtag grow your own grove, you can see only a week ago there was almost nothing here. So they come up very, very fast, and I'd like to think this is having this happening in my house is definitely a good thing for me. I think spiritually, physically, possibly, and all of these are going to go in the ground hopefully next winter solstice 2020. Fingers crossed. They'll have all over the winter inside to grow, and they'll have then the spring, I'll put them outside and they should start shooting up even more, fingers crossed, and then obviously they'll be outside, so then as the winter draws in they'll toughen up and then should be able to go in the ground next year. So that'll be something I'm looking forward to. No, I'm going to leave it on that screen. This really is what I think of when I think of an altar, a place to reflect. I think whenever we could all do a little bit of this, I think. So yeah, that was me. I don't know how long this video is, but it's definitely not going to be one of Kara's epics. I may make this video public on my channel just because it's a nice little clip. But yeah, that's me. Have a good winter solstice, good Christmas, good festive season, good time off if you're at school. I assume you'll have some time off if you're at school. I will. Yeah, have a good one, and we'll see you back in January. Blessed be.